Good evening, America, and it's happening out, the world's most popular live gay TV show. It's 8 p.m. Wednesday, March 18th, 2020, and we have a lot to talk about here in the gay version of The View. We're going to begin tonight with Happening Now. This is our breaking news segment, and we're going to open the show tonight with a conversation about coronavirus. Can you imagine that we would be talking about anything else? Of course, you know all of the news. We remind you should be watching Q News tonight, every night at 7 o'clock. We are doing extensive reporting on coronavirus. The president and the CDC did their press conference we're broadcasting from Wilton Manors, Fort Lauderdale, Florida. The mayor of Fort Lauderdale will be on Q News tonight, tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. And we're going to be talking about what's going on in Fort Lauderdale. All over South Florida and in the state of Florida, bars and restaurants and many, many businesses have been closed. And that is true around the country. So let's just begin our conversation with coronavirus. Thoughts about where we're at and where we're going?
I'm really scared. I am so scared of what's been going on. And it's funny because we work together on Q News tonight. We have reported this story since January as it started, as we launched our show on our sister program. And I didn't prepare enough. I didn't prepare myself. I did not prepare my mother enough. And she is 70 in the COPD category. She's the high risk category. I didn't prepare my family or my friends. And I've watched this happen and I feel like a fool for not taking it seriously enough. I know others that work here feel that way, but I can't imagine what other people that didn't even know that this was happening are feeling right now. Have you guys had this foresight to know what was coming and to do something or not do anything about it? Have you taken any other actions?
Who can? I mean, who else around this table feels like if we're actually in a movie? Like, I mean, this is very surreal. I literally feel like we are in a movie with a whole script and everything, but this is actually real. And to Napoleon's point, Napoleon, you're not the only one, because nobody could have foretold what we are going through. But I really think that we are just at the beginning of this, and that we have a long road to go. Yeah. I think that what we're being told about, 2 months or, hunker down, get ready for 8 weeks, I think is the government's way of kind of spoon feeding us and placating us, because they don't want to worry the public. But let's be honest, we don't know what this is. We don't know what the future holds, and it's probably going to be a longer than
it's suggested that from Italy,
weeks.
We're not going to even hit our peak until May 1st.
Yeah.
May 1st is now a projected number for the U.S.
Josie, I'm curious. You own a restaurant here in the gayest place on planet Earth, Bubbles and Pearls. We broadcast the show there many times. I imagine the new rules of closure have affected you.
Mm-hmm. Well, as a business owner, obviously, I have, I've seen this coming. I knew that we were going to get to this point. I didn't know how quickly, and obviously, it's really important that we understand that we have to put people right now before profits, and that we have to adhere to the recommendation of the experts, the CDC. And when we talk about social distancing, I mean, this is detrimental to our industry. And there are going to be people who are right now, I mean, the service industry is the 3rd largest industry in the United States workforce. And when we think about that, I mean, we don't really even understand how far-reaching closing down all of these businesses, and it stretches beyond, and we're going to get into that later, but it stretches beyond bars and restaurants. But, it's right now managing emotions and knowing that, guys, we're all in this together, and for once, maybe in a long time as a human race, we're all understanding something, that we're really in this together, and that we really need to think about looking outward instead of inward in the moment. And, it's scary. I understand. I'm scared. I have an elderly mom. My wife is at home. She's never been through anything like this. And, what do you do? What do you say? But just to let everyone know, we're all in it together. You know, no one is going to come and turn off your lights and kick you out of your house. And, you know, your neighbor, now we're going to be able to cook for each other and be really neighborly. We're going to be able to share our resources. But we're going to do this. We're going to do this.
And you talk about the lessons that we've already learned from this. For example, you know, things like this bring out the best and the worst of in our humanity. I mean, for example, you know, I have never been a refugee from a war-torn country, but you know, you understand a little bit more the desperation of people that flee to this country that are in dire straits. When you look at the fact that we are fighting over toilet paper. And if we're desperate enough to fight over the toilet.
You know, Power, it's interesting. This morning, my gym is closed. Napoleon and my roommate, Alejandro Alfaro, is from Havana. He's here without his family, works for the show in production, and he is incredibly nervous. He's like a cat in a room full of rocking chairs because his family's in Cuba, and he's concerned about what's going on in Cuba and what's going to come in Cuba, which is likely going to be very powerful. And but he is lost in terms of his isolation here, and he went walking. We did 5 miles this morning, and he did that because he wanted association with Napoleon and I. Almost exclusively, that's the reason why he did that. When we finished, I walked into an Aldi, interesting to your point about toilet paper. First off, this is a respiratory disease. You do not need to buy toilet paper. It's not necessary.
You know how many friends of mine have gone through a bunch of toilet paper because they think they've had the virus?
That's not true. Wait. Let's stay on topic. It is not true. I bought, they had a pallet just that came right out. Happenstance of me walking into the Aldi, I got 24 rolls of toilet paper close to the house because I'm walking, and I walked about a half a mile from the Aldi to my apartment. I had the most bizarre situation in that 3 different cars stopped, rolled their windows down, and asked me, where did you get the toilet paper? It was like, that's never happened to me.
So people don't talk to you, don't even say hi to you.
They don't say hi, but they ask me.
Hey, to be fair,
I'm going to tell you something. This is a very, very unique, weird experience. Just driving from Miami up here, I felt like, I felt like a hurricane is coming, everything closed and people panicking. But I spent the last 2 days, we've spent giving out food for the elderly. And you know what? As we were knocking on doors with our protections and everything else and delivering them food, a lady said to me, nobody has come visit me in years. You're the first. Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter that you were bringing me food. You just knocked on my door and you at least said hi.
Yeah, social contact.
So it really hit me. I am blessed with my mother and father, which are both 91 years old, and they're healthy and they're active. But to me, it really, I found myself doing something that I never thought I would do. I actually found myself kneeling down and praying for friends. And I actually, for the first time in my life, said, Lord, take care of, and I prayed for everyone around this table. Because for me, it was like, what happens? What would I do without any of you here? So it is very difficult for me. Now, I'm not worried about guns or ammunitions and food because I'm one of those.
You're a Republican. You know they'll be there.
But I'm going to tell you something. To notice that I had food there, you know, the special packages for 25 years and all that, I felt, yeah, that's great. What the hell is that good for if I can't tell anybody I love you? If I can't tell anybody I miss you? And so, although this is a horrible thing, you know, for the first time a couple of days, I am being proud of being an American. For the first time, since President Trump has gotten into power, we forgot about Republicans and Democrats. Have you seen the Congress and the Senate moving bills quickly, getting the work together? This is what we ought to be working together as Americans. Forget about goddamn political parties. And we need each other. And by the way, just to finish this, let me tell you something. I love you.
Yeah.
And I've never told you that.
And America, we have to share with you, several things look different here tonight. First off, we have almost doubled the size of our table tonight. We are in, I believe, about 12 feet of the table. And that's because I finally got the justification to move these people farther away from me, which is great. And also, you see an unfamiliar face here at the end of the table. I told you you're going to have to fight to get in. See, we can already see that. This is my friend James De La Fuentes. He works for NBC Albany, New York, and he is of the fortune or misfortune to decide to come to the gayest place on planet Earth in the middle of coronavirus. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank
James.
you.
Welcome. What's your first moments here in South Florida been?
It's been, what the hell did I get into?
That's how we all feel when we get here. So welcome.
Yeah, right. Thanks. It's been very, very.
No bathhouses, no bars.
Well, that's okay. I'm assuming they're extra clean now, so it might be the better time to go.
No restaurants.
I actually enjoyed walking down the street. I had a friend who's in Morocco sent me some pictures of a very desolate Morocco, and she's trying to get out of there, trying to get home. She's got medication needs and this and that. And I'm walking down Wilton Manor Streets, and I've got the same feeling of like, it's so desolate here, but I have no medical needs. So then my mind started to wander, and then I started to think of certain things. I called my grandmother right away. She's 86. She's on lockdown. However, my grandmother, like my Republican determined ass, is very strong, and she's out in her parking lot, and she's getting excited by her facility. She's being told to get back inside. She's being told not to be out and about. But there's things in my nature that I've been raised with, is that this is a scary thing, but it's not going to keep me afraid. I want to progress. I want people to get healthy. I want things to come around again, but I want to do it in the safest way that is safest for everyone. My grandmother is important. I don't want people around her. I don't want them around the elderly at all. I mean, I was at the gas station this afternoon. My first thought to the lady who was opening the door, she was much, much older than I was, don't touch the door, please, there might be germs. And I don't know where that came from, but that was my first thought, was you don't need to touch that, I can touch it.
Yeah, that's
Great.
exactly what you're hitting on, is how we can socially help each other, especially if you might not be at risk when others might be.
Correct.
Well, we've opened the show tonight talking about coronavirus. We have a lot of things to talk about. Much of what we have talked about to talk about tonight is going to be a lot more fun than what we're watching in coronavirus. But of course, we're all involved probably in one of the most significant events in our lifetime, and that is going on. So, good evening again, America. You are watching the world's most popular live gay TV show. So many of your stories and topics that we're going to talk about tonight on It's Happening Out.
This week on It's Happening Out. Andrew Gillum, scandal.
Gillum was involved in an incident possibly involving crystal meth in Miami Beach overnight.
COVID-19 support and what we can do.
Worldwide, cases of the coronavirus have surpassed 100,000.
Our favorite game? I'd swallow that.
Live the first month of a zombie.
It's all happening out tonight. Join us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter with your host, lifestyle expert NapoleonPlays, reality TV star Chef Josie, trans activist Erin Phoenix, DJ Diva Power Infiniti, Republican political analyst Ronny Brenesky, and our moderator Al Ferguson. It all starts right now, live on It's Happening Out.
Well, America, we are live, and anything can happen tonight. This is the world's most popular live gay TV show. We want to remind you that we do Q News tonight, every night at 7. Tomorrow night, there's a very special broadcast. It is called Q&A on coronavirus. Tomorrow night, March 19th at 7 p.m. We invite the world's LGBT media group moderators for group chat rooms, and also influencers to join us. We'll share the entire platform with you. We have Dean Trentellis, the mayor of Fort Lauderdale, the gayest place on planet Earth, going to be here, doctors, HIV specialists, and we're going to answer your questions tomorrow night, specifically for the LGBT community. So we encourage you to join us. And we thank you for joining us on It's Happening Out, and help propel us to your friends.
That's right. And we want to make sure, if you are interested in everything that we put forward, if you're interested in tonight, if you're interested in helping save lives as we're going through with the coronavirus, we know it's scary, then please make sure to share this information. And that means to start a watch party. Like and share, of course, and please subscribe, but also share a watch party. It's very simple. We've got a video for you.
When viewing our live show in your app, please click share. After clicking share, your screen should change and you can then click watch party. On the next screen, you can write text to your viewing audience and then click start watch party. You've done it. Enjoy your party.
And host of It's Happening Out today at the Best Western off of I-95 and Powerline, where they treat us like the royalties that we are. When in town, make sure to give them a visit.
And we're broadcasting live right now from our permanent set here at the World AIDS Museum and Educational Center in the popularly known gayest place on planet Earth, Wilton Manors.
And America, we want to tell you, right now, the World AIDS Museum is closed like everything else here in South Florida. But we do a call to action for you. We are very concerned about the effects of coronavirus on our LGBT 501c3s. This is an active living museum. The museum is closed. March is the biggest fundraising month of the entire year for this 501c3 and this living museum. And there is great risk, the loss of the AIDS Walk and support of the fundraising efforts and efforts in the month of March. And so we want to pick up the alarm and tell you we're very concerned about the effects that coronavirus is going to have on our 501c3s in the LGBT community, and specifically the illustration of the example of that, the World AIDS Museum. We need to help the World AIDS Museum raise $10,000. It is very critically important, and we issue a challenge to you. We're putting up a slide right now about how you can help the World AIDS Museum with a text to give. And you can, it's very simple. All you have to do is text a phone number, 954-371-0969, and anything that you can do to help the World AIDS Museum continue its mission, you can do. $5 is valuable to them. And we are excited to say that the American AHF is going to match your text to give dollar for dollar. So if you contribute, anything you contribute on text to give, AHF will match your donation directly for the World AIDS Museum. And we encourage you to do that. And during this broadcast, I'm going to text to give $100 to the World AIDS Museum and its mission. This is so important. And we were talking about this before the show. In all of the ramifications of coronavirus, I haven't seen a single story on social media or general media about the effect that coronavirus has on our 501c3s and our charitable organizations, especially in the LGBT community. And it's time to change that. It's not just our restaurants and our bars and our bathhouses. It is everything, especially our charitable organizations. Any thoughts about the call to action for the World AIDS Museum?
I think now is exactly the time to be stepping up. You're right. Everything is doubled because of the AHF Foundation, the AIDS Healthcare Foundation, that is going to double every bit of dollar that you put forward. Now is the time. I know that everyone is struggling. This is a difficult time in the world, but now is where, especially as an LGBTQ community, we do come together. And this is an establishment that is a part of our culture. There is information here that could be lost that is necessity to our future as an LGBTQ society, and we need to make sure that we are defending it and also donating. So please do just like Al did. I'm going to be donating later. Please step up and help out as much as you possibly can, or at least promote. If that's all you can do, promote.
I will definitely be donating later, and I will tell you very honestly, every one of us do a little bit of sacrifice and donate, not only to this World AIDS, but every 501c3 organization throughout our LGBTQ community. We need help. They need help. Regardless of all the problems we're facing, hey, we got to sacrifice and take care of each other, and this is a great opportunity. So please, we are asking you to help us. Help every organization you can, and do it with a smile, and do it positively, because your penny, your dollar will bring the possibility of us keeping this open, keeping going, and really remembering the people who passed on an epidemic called HIV.
I know. How ironic
that
coronavirus could adversely affect our remembrance of the AIDS missions and what we went through. If you're a baby boomer, you're never going to forget what we went through, and there's so many feeling similarities of what is going on right now via coronavirus. I just can't accept the idea that the World AIDS Museum would be adversely affected.
And it's small donations. No one's asking you to reach into your pocket and write a check for $1,000. Where we have a goal to raise $10,000 right now, and all it takes is us as a community. If 1/10 of our viewership right now would just reach into your pocket, make a sustainable donation. Maybe you want to donate for the next year, $1, 99 cents a month. That's $12 for the year. Okay, then you will help to ensure that not only does the World AIDS Museum stay open, but it also continues to do the good work and the important work that it represents in our community.
Or you could just pressure your Republican friends who say that it's so important that they need to donate more, and you could just keep nudging them to do a little bit more. Because I plan on doing that, Ron.
That's good. You can do that.
Well,
we need to do
in my galaxy, in my world, coming from the world of nightlife, I know a lot of the DJs, myself being a DJ and a performer, a lot of the DJs and performers don't have it like that right now. We are out of work. Yeah. So for those of you that don't got it like that and need to save your money, do not be intimidated by Al's contribution. Share. You can share this information.
Absolutely right.
Share the text information and get the word out there so that we can propel this movement.
Actually, interesting to me. I'm going to contribute $100 to the text to give, and AHF is going to match it. But really, Power's approach is far more powerful than mine, because his ability to share it and have 1,000 people say, pay attention to what's happening at the World AIDS Museum, is way more powerful. So if you can give $5, give $5. But if you can't give $5 and you share in your circle of friends, make and become aware of the plight of our LGBT 501c3s, you are really helping sustain your community, and we hope you do that. So, and we'll continue to talk about it, because we have a goal to raise $10,000 to help this museum and its mission, because it's vitally, vitally important. Let's move on to our meme of the week. We start our show this way frequently and look at the meme of the week. Do you sell condoms in size XXL? Yes, sir. We sell that size. Do you mind if I wait here to see who buys them? I've got a really good joke here, but I'm not going to tell it. Okay. Let's move out of the meme of the week.
We're not even going to comment on the big penis story aside.
Right. And let's play our game, I'd Swallow That. David is not here tonight, obviously, because of our corona situation. So we play I'd Swallow That, and our shots are here on the table, and we're going to pass those around for everybody. Thank you.
Sanitized hands to pass it around.
Exactly. And we encourage you to play with us at home. I'm going to ask questions, and if you agree, you take the shot. And if you disagree, you don't touch your shot. Everybody understands what we do. James, you know how this works, right?
Yeah, sure.
And being the alcohol aficionado that you are, I know you'll play well. All right. I'd swallow that.
He grabs it in his hand.
Question number 1. I have honestly taken proper precautions to protect myself and others during COVID-19. You haven't, Power?
I mean, I don't really think, honestly, that any one of us can honestly say that. I mean, how do we all know that we've taken the best precautions that we can? I don't know if we can say that we've taken proper precautions because, I mean, if any single one of us comes down with it, obviously you didn't take proper enough precautions.
Exactly, and I think...
And I mean, I'm taking the best precautions that I can, but, who knows? I guess we'll see in the end.
Okay, all right. Other thoughts?
I know that I have taken the proper precautions. I've taken proper action, and I can only do as much as I can as a human being. Beyond putting myself in a padded room, then I guess that would be the next option. A padded room where you can slide my food through the window, That's the next step, guys. That's the next step.
I have a friend of mine who said the way that he took care of the first proper precaution was to stay away from his mother-in-law. So go.
That's funny. Any other thoughts about taking proper precautions? I wore a mask for the first time today. I thought
you were attractive for the
I
first
have
time.
funny. Lots of sanitizer. I constantly and religiously sanitize anything I touch. Doorknob, anything I touch, I sanitize again. I'm pretty sure 100% of the time I've done that. I have concentrated on not touching my face. If I do touch my face and I realize I've touched my face, I sanitize again and wipe down my face and my mouth and my nostrils. Yeah. It's the best I can.
Who else around this table has gotten uber obsessed with sanitizing their hands?
Yeah, exactly.
We all have.
I'm just like,
and by the way, one of the things I learned in coronavirus, which I didn't know before, sanitizer is not created equal. There are good flavors and there are not good flavors. I'm just telling you.
I've learned to make my own. I mean, that's just.
How do you make your own?
You get alcohol, and what's the other thing?
Aloe,
and you mix them.
And essential
going to the internet,
oils.
you can actually go there.
We
have to get the measurements,
we
right?
couldn't find any, and we went and found a whole bunch of aloe. They were selling the aloe bottles, less than 9 ounces of aloe for $10.
Oh, that's ridiculous.
Very cheap.
We had 90% alcohol,
right.
So we used a recipe to with essential oils, and I have lavender, eucalyptus. Now they smell like anything I want.
But you bring it back down to
you're doing it.
That Trump.
You're doing it.
Because Trump didn't prepare us 2 months ago when he could have had this information.
This
could have existed before. We could have had Lysol. We could have had masks.
Do you agree with that or not?
It's fact.
I don't agree.
You can't disagree because it's fact. I'm sorry. This was the World Health Organization in on the 17th of January.
The whole world wasn't prepared.
Yes,
the whole world was not prepared.
That's true, and we weren't either. The leading nation is no longer the leading nation.
We were lied to. We were lied to.
Let's move on.
By our leader.
Remember, this is the game part of the show.
Sorry, I'm
sorry. I gotta remind you.
Go ahead. America, for once, it wasn't me.
They won't allow me to run the show. I'd swallow that. Question number 2. I have a series. Everybody's got a shot with them.
Clean this for
I
you.
have a series I plan on binge watching to keep myself occupied.
Red tube count?
It's called Stephen King's The Stand.
Oh my God! The first person that tells me that they're watching Contagion or Outbreak, I'm going to leave them and unfriend them forever.
Stephen King's The Stand. Watch it.
Okay.
On where?
You can watch it on Netflix or Hulu. I made the joke that Randall Flagg, Stephen King wrote the most popular novel that Stephen King has ever written in 1990, is about a worldwide pandemic that kills 99.9% of all the people in the world. And it's a good versus evil story. And Randall Flagg is the devil kind of character who sets up base in Las Vegas. And Mother Abigail is the Jesus type of character in Colorado Springs. And my joke is playing Randall Flagg in our current version is Donald Trump. So,
boy.
Okay, next. There we go.
Any other binge watching?
I have every comedy ever written, ever on Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, or any other location. Disney Plus. I have them all down. I have all of you as my friends. Find me for the information because I do not plan on watching anything that's going to freak me out because I am way too prone to it.
I know. That's it. No more Handmaid's Tale.
I'm watching Black Orphan on Prime Video. I love Black Orphan. I've just right now got into Frankie and Gracie. And also Castlevania.
Yes.
Yeah. Great.
Oh, that's
all right, let's move on. Question number 3. Question 3, and I'd swallow that. I still don't think the coronavirus is a big deal.
I'm gonna no.
That's gonna be
like. Do you remember last week? We had this conversation. I made the observation last week at It's Happening Out. I thought Napoleon and I were slightly ahead of the curve, and that was because of Q News Tonight. We had done so much reporting on it.
Months.
In 1 week, there's a real dramatic difference.
Life has changed completely in 1 week.
What do you mean? I will admit I did not watch last week's show. I wasn't on it. But was the panelists, was the attitude on the panel different?
I believe Ron specifically called out. Please, I make a mistake in terms of summary. He didn't think it was as big a deal as what we were.
And that's not his fault. That's what the government is doing.
And
it's literally we're being told that by Trump, and he is a trumpeteer. Of course, he's going to.
I'm not a trumpeteer. Do not say I'm a trumpeteer. No. Don't go there. Don't be putting words. Don't do fake news. Come on. Okay. Now
that's up to Facebook.
I will tell you something. It is a big deal, but I don't think it's as big a deal because I'm sorry. I apologize, America.
You don't have to.
But I went through the AIDS epidemic. That was a big deal.
So if I licked your face right now, you'd feel completely comfortable.
No. Again, don't confuse. Listen, the fact of the matter is those of us that went through that hell, okay? Because I remember my brothers and sisters being told when we went to visit them at the hospital. I'm not sure you're from the same group. Yeah. They would tell you, you're going to go ahead and visit those people? Oh, stay away. You know, I had a nurse come to me and says, oh, my God, you have AIDS. I said, well, how do I have AIDS? You just kissed that guy. He has AIDS. You stupid bitch. That's not the way you get AIDS. So I went through it. We need to be precautioned. That's fine. But don't make it, I'm sorry, it is big. This is a brand new generation that did not go, most of this generation didn't go through the pain that we went in the 1980s. God darn it, I remember in 1980s putting a glass of water because of religious reason for everybody who had died. One day I opened the door and it was what the hell is this? There was glasses of water for each one of my brothers and sisters that passed. So, you know what? Let's take it back. It's not the first time humanity has gone through this. Read the history of humanity. It's affecting us more because of internet, and we're more related to it. But you know what? Listen, take precautions. Stop attacking. Just take precautions. And we're going to get out of this. You see. We're going to get out of it.
All of that is true. We will get out of this if we take precautions, and we can. But right now, we're not being given the leadership to do so. And I'm not saying give me a minute. I just gave you. I know I was not alive during the AIDS crisis, but I was raised by people. My gay family was raised in the AIDS crisis. They're both HIV positive, so I have a pretty good understanding of what they went through. Good. They've been training me for not just 5 years, but also have been freaking out over the past. That it's been the last year. And so it's been frustrating for them because they know how intense it's been and that this is a serious thing that we have to deal with. And so they want to make sure that I am going to be a lighthearted person that can help spread joy and love to people. This is not the whole point is this is a big deal. And yes, it's a big deal. It doesn't matter if that other one was a big deal too. This is a completely separate game than HIV was in the 80s. This is a completely separate ball game, and we have to make sure that yes, it's a big deal, but we can also make sure to interact with each other and support each other in ways that are completely different because science is on our side this time.
I would like to move on to question number 4, and I'd swallow that. And really, I can't wait to see what happens on this one. Have we all passed shots? We all ready? Question number 4. I'm nervous sitting next to Power since he played at Winter Party.
Oh, my goodness.
So the idea here is that somebody tested positive.
Wait, let me symbolically take the shot.
I'm always nervous next to Power. But somebody tested positive for coronavirus at Winter Party, and that's the idea.
More than
Well, one
somebody.
person. That's the disease. One person does, and more people do.
Yeah, more than somebody.
You want to know why I'm not nervous? Because I know that Power's a bitch. And Power probably stayed in your DJ booth with Lysol and sanitizer and didn't let anyone in your booth.
Okay, so actually I did not play at Winter Party. I hosted a Winter Party event the Friday night, the Friday evening Winter Party event. And
that included the same people that went to all of the Winter
Parties. Of course, it included, any single person that was there at any Winter Party event, I think could have put themselves at risk. However, they really paid me to literally sit down in a VIP booth, get served Grey Goose all night with fabulous friends and fabulous people, and take pictures and be filmed and just be fabulous. That's all I was there to do. And because I am a bitch, that's what I did.
Wait. More important than coronavirus, how do I get your life? I want to know, how do I get your life?
Well, I'm going to tell you, I've been standing next to him in many shows, and I'm not nervous, although he could go in and slap me, okay? But I'm not nervous. I think that.
So does that mean that you have access to get tested now?
Oh, my goodness. Well, apparently, from what I understand, because there is a friend of mine that believes he was bartending at Winter Party, and he is now sick. He's exhibiting symptoms, and he believes that he might have coronavirus. But even though he was bartending, even though he's showing symptoms,
impossible.
You cannot.
Right, he went to get tested, and they told him, stay home for 4 days and see how you feel, and then if it's worse, come back, and then, even then, they're not going to test him there. They're
Now, whether you blame CDC, whether you blame the Corona Task Force, whether you blame the president, whether you blame the governor, whoever you blame, there's lots of blame to go around, mostly at the top. That is irresponsible. And the reason, in my opinion, that is irresponsible is the recommendation to him is, well, let's say if he does that, but can't you imagine out of 10 people, 6 won't follow the instruction? They won't self-isolate completely.
Right.
And as a result, they have announced, I am concerned that I have coronavirus. You will not test. You will not prove, is that true or not? You send me home. I sit home for 24 or 48 hours and out into the world I go.
Yep. But he has been responsible. He is now on day 3 of 4, and he has self-isolated. But I would think that simply because of the fact that you are at a event where other people have, and not just one, other people have come down with coronavirus, that would be enough of a standard for them to test.
We've reported we've reported this at Q News tonight over and over again. The real truth of the mismanagement of this crisis is that we can't. There is literally not enough tests in Dade and Broward County to be able to do that.
Yeah, I know.
And New York, and there's just not. And until we catch up with that, they're doing the best they can in the lack of initial management.
That Trump failed us on.
Yeah.
Not only Trump, the whole world failed.
Yeah.
We were not prepared for this. Stop blaming him. We need to blame each other. We should be more cautious. We should be more protective. We must be
We'll
alert.
get into it, but you had the opportunity to on the 17th of January to give us more tests.
Telling me
We're
what
in
to
a game.
Do. I
We're going
happen
to
to go ahead and prepare.
Are you reading the board?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's move out of I'd Swallow That, and we'll move into Celebrity Hot Topics. Celebrity Hot Topics number 1.
Celebrity Hot Topics.
Cats won a razzle for worst picture. What terrible movies do you love? And before we talk about this, we want to show you a little bit about Cats. Watch this.
Steal it. The category is Worst Picture. Worst Picture. Hands-on buzzers.
The Haunting of Sharon Tate.
Padilla Family Funeral.
Rainbow Last Blood.
You can't be the one who's...
If some tool would have given this sadistic jerk an autograph, this movie would have been over in 5 minutes.
The Fanatic! This movie...
Is he okay?
Somebody get him some water!
Or a martini.
Cats!
All right. Cats? I liked Cats. Am I the only person that
It was
I
it was
love
not just
Cats.
the worst movie. It was the worst movie ever.
I loved it. I thought it was
Ever.
great.
You
Graphic,
think that?
I mean, it was the cinematography was horrific. I mean, there were mistakes.
All over the
Oots.
place.
It was just a really bad movie. But I would like to, because I can't remember the name of this movie. You were asking us what is some of our favorite bad movies, and I can't remember the name of this movie, but I think Napoleon would. Was that movie where the girl was like, the girl was on stage?
Wait, a superstar with Molly Shannon?
No, the one where she pushed the other girl down the stairs. She was.
Oh my God, with Jesse Spano
I don't know.
from Saved by the Bell, Showgirls.
Yes, Showgirls.
Oh hell yeah,
My favorite.
that's my favorite everything.
Yes,
I think of that every
Showgirls
week.
is one of the worst films ever done.
It's the
But
best
it's a cult favorite. So many
It's
people like it. It's funny.
LGBT fave.
Yeah.
What's the question?
Worst film ever.
I probably forgot about it.
That's how bad it was.
James, you have a worst film ever?
I do, and it's sad to say because she's my favorite pop star. It's Britney's Crossroads.
Oh, yeah. Sounds terrible.
Wait, should I know that Britney Spears did a movie called Crossroads?
Exactly. Oh, my God.
Oh dear, oh
That's how
dear.
bad it was.
That's how bad it was.
That was so bad.
By the way,
too. It was-
a little information of our NBC guy from Albany, New York. He is a huge Britney Spears fan. In fact, he's a very close personal friend to the world's greatest Britney Spears impersonator, Derek Barry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you look like Derek. That makes sense.
He's just as good, let me tell you.
So you could be a Britney Spears impersonator.
I'll leave that to the professionals.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to Celebrity Hot Topic, the second one we're wanting to discuss. The Democratic candidate for for governor here in Florida was Andrew Gillum. And he was at the time the Tallahassee mayor, our state capital mayor. He has, been discovered in a hotel room in South Beach. Let's see, how do I tell this story?
Factually?
Please do, though.
I'm about to go in.
Well, that's what the guy there said.
With the gay escort, and by the way, a beautiful gay escort who overdosed on crystal meth. We've prepared this for you. Watch this.
Breaking news now out of Miami Beach, where former gubernatorial candidate Andrew Gillum was involved in an incident possibly involving crystal meth in Miami Beach overnight. According to a Miami Beach incident report, he was inside of a hotel room at a building on 1100 West Avenue where a man was treated for a possible drug overdose. The man was transported to the hospital. Another man was able to tell police what happened, but when officers went to speak to Mr. Gillum, they say he was unable to communicate because he was so inebriated. Officers report finding 3 small clear plastic baggies containing suspected crystal meth on the bed and the floor of the hotel room. Police report Gillum left the hotel room and returned home without incident. There have been no arrests. And Gillum just released a statement. It reads in part, I was in Miami last night for a wedding celebration when first responders were called to assist one of my friends. While I had too much to drink, I want to be clear that I have never used methamphetamines. I apologize to the people of Florida for the distraction this has caused our movement. He went on to say he is going to spend the next few weeks with his family and appreciates the privacy at this time.
Well, I know multiple of us have interesting observations to talk about here. For me, and I said this at Q, I just think it's interesting that it is one more example where a politician or a reformed politician or a former politician would rather go into rehab than admit he's gay. I just think that's interesting.
Well, that was my next question. I was like, is Andrew Gillum gay? I had no idea.
Right. All right. So what do y'all think about this story?
Anybody else want to go before I?
I think we're sitting waiting for the tea.
We're like, go ahead, girl.
Okay, well, first of all, I don't even know where to start with this. First of all, Andrew Gillum, from the very credible source that I heard it from, which is Travis Dyson, that's the escort. Okay.
Was this by text exchange communication? Or by phone?
Okay, so I'm not. I cannot. I'm
You
not
can't
at
share
liberty
that.
to,
Okay,
to
all right.
share.
Right. I got it.
Everything that he said because that's his story to tell.
Yeah.
But I can give you a little bit of insight into, from what I understand, happened. First of all, they were doing G. Okay. So a lot of maybe the mainstream media doesn't know what G is. Us party boys, us gay people, we know what G is. They were doing G. So when Andrew says he's never done meth, maybe that's true, maybe it's not true, but they were definitely doing G. According to the escort, Andrew dosed himself with 3/5 of an ounce of G. He gave himself too much.
Too much.
Too much.
And that would make it feel like what?
Well, if you're overdose, you're
A lot of our
out
audience
of
might
it.
not
You're
know.
a lot of times you're knocked out. Sometimes you die. When they came, fire rescue came, and he was throwing up and all that stuff. He said he was inebriated. That ain't no inebriation, because if you're drunk what? All night, right?
Right.
You're not drunk for a couple hours and then you come back. That's not drunk. That's G. So the fact that he could not speak when they first came, or when he was first found by the third guy, and then fire rescue came and they did a welfare check. They came back and he was able to speak and he had gotten himself together. That's not a sign of drunk. That's a sign of I just came out of my G hole.
Which is faster.
Him and he said that the guy was his friend. The guy was not his friend. They had met on Grindr. Okay? They met on Grindr. And so the guy was an escort, not his friend, that they went to a wedding together and they just said, no. That was a hookup. Let's call it what it is. It was a hookup. And now the child has to sign an NDA. He has his receipts, but he's going to have to sign an NDA because Andrew and his people are making him sign a non-disclosure. So Andrew can spin it the way he wants to spin it. Oh, I have a drug, alcohol problem. I'm going into rehab, this, that, and the other thing. First of all, you're gay or you're bi or whatever. You're just not straight. Let's get that out of the way. So that's something he has to deal with and come to terms on his own. That's between him and his wife, understandably. But he has to deal with that. And whatever extracurricular activities he was doing, along with the liquor, he might have drunk, but he was definitely doing other things because they found 2 bags of Tina in the room, as well as G. So that is something else that he needs to be honest about. And I would like to also say that on Saturday, I believe, myself and my sister, RuPaul Drag Race phenom, my girl, my sister, Coco Montrese, and I went back and forth on social media for 6 hours. And more power to her, because this bitch went back and forth with me while she was still performing that day and had to perform in Las Vegas for the RuPaul Drag Race Flamingo show. She still had time to go back and forth with me. But she was trying to defend Andrew, and I was, on the other hand...
Why?
Well, Coco has a tendency to kind of like defend and turn the other way, or turn the blind eye when it comes to people on our side. And I'm the type of person that I am very, very loud and outspoken calling out people on the other side, but I also believe that if you're going to be that loud and outspoken about calling somebody out on the other side, you have to be just as loud about calling out people on your own side. Okay? I am principle over party, and I don't give a damn who you are. I'm to call you out. Right is right and wrong is wrong. And what he did was wrong. I said it. I simply made a post saying Andrew was wrong, period, point blank. And because of that, it got some backlash. But, I'm a bitch. I'm able to take it, and I'm able to give it too. And I let everybody have it. And one person even asked me, well, why do you care? Well, why are you asking me why I care? Nobody asked me why I cared when I donated to Andrew's campaign.
Exactly.
Nobody
right.
asked me why
when
I
we
cared
voted for him.
about Andrew Gillum when I voted for him. Nobody asked me why I cared about Andrew when I was supporting him for another run. Nobody asked me why I cared about Andrew when I was hoping that he'd be on the short list for vice president. But all of a sudden, now that I call him out for a wrong that he did, why do I care? Because I motherfucking care.
Yeah, and to me, I just come back to the observation again. It just seems ironic to me. It is one more time where somebody would live in the fabrication of the lie, including I'll admit and go to rehab, as opposed to admitting they're gay or bisexual What is that all about?
All right, so now I called his wrong out, but let me just say, giving him the benefit of the doubt, I think we all remember, or maybe some of us don't, but I think we should all remind ourselves how hard it was for us to come to grips with our own coming out story. So maybe he's not ready to come out right now and say and admit, because there is a toll that he has to pay. His wife, his kids, his family, his reputation, all that is things that he has to deal with. So maybe I can understand that he doesn't want to just bust out the closet like, I'm coming out. But all I'm saying is he's going to have to deal with that. And this is going to force him to deal with it whether he wants to or not. Because we are not stupid. The mainstream media might go along with that story of, well, he was with a friend. We, in the gay community, Travis wasn't no friend. Okay? We know Travis wasn't no friend, and he wasn't there, playing Scrabble.
Is it too soon to say that Andrew Gillum has really good taste on Grindr?
It's just curious, like, how was he on Grindr? I mean, I don't know. Are there a lot of politicians and celebrities on there?
When you're younger and near DC,
a lot of celebrities slide into your DMs, and I would also like to say that a lot of people are vilifying the sex worker Travis. I'd like to tell gay America, stop it. Okay, a lot of people are blaming him. Oh, he brought Andrew down and this, that. No. He didn't force Andrew Gillum to do any of these things. Andrew made the choice and the decision, and he has to take account and responsibility.
I'm curious,
for his own
what is
decisions.
Andrew Gillum's going to see this report? Mainstream media, by the way, has not talked about this story in the way that we've talked about it for the last 5 minutes.
Because they're Democrats.
And
if it was being a Republican, they would have trashed them all over the place.
Okay, all right.
Come on, it's reality.
All right, so let's say that that's true for a moment. Mainstream media has not done that. Q News tonight, we reported this extensively. We've had this conversation now. Andrew Gillum running for governor of Florida, a bright political future, black, leadership opportunity. What's his response to this conversation going to be? What do you anticipate his answer is going to be?
Keep his mouth shut.
Well, I think he's probably going to ignore it until he's ready to speak on it. And hopefully when he does speak on it, he might address the whole sexuality thing. I would usually say that it's nobody's business, but you don't have that luxury when you have taken the time and effort to place yourself as a public figure and as a leader and a voice within a Democratic or in any party. You don't have that luxury. So yes, the reason it's news is because it's who you are. And so therefore, since it is news, you should address it.
Let me make sure that I put an exclamation point on Power's observation. Andrew Gillum ran for governor of Florida in a really critical time for Florida and lost to DeSantis, who is now the leadership in the government.
Only so
this close. We lost the Democratic Senator, Bill Nelson, in that same election. There could have been some effect in terms of Gillum's run. But more important, and Aaron Dar has reported on this repeatedly, the down ballot effects on Gillum was very significant in Florida. Very significant. So there were ramifications of Gillum running for governor and the loss of him losing for governor. And this is kind of the end of where that story went. And so it's very big for the LGBT community.
And I don't want to vilify him. I mean, I don't want to say that there's not a road for redemption or forgiveness or that he can't come back. That is not my point in saying what I'm saying. My point is just to say I recognize it as a wrong. I'm calling it as a wrong, and I'm doing something that a lot of people, not you, because I know one thing about you is you actually do, but I'm doing something that a lot of people on the other side cannot do, which is actually stand up and say, okay, this is right and this is wrong, and call it out as such.
Exactly. All right, so
I was just really curious to hear James' thoughts. He was making expressions throughout that whole thing, and I didn't think he had an inside thought toward it.
I do, definitely. Your Florida Democrats are a lot more fun than my New York ones, and the scandals are completely different.
This is Florida, the freak show state. Welcome to Florida.
Keep it classy, Florida.
Right. It's entertaining, so.
Yeah, we're going to move out of Celebrity Hot Topics and move to the best thing of the week. And we've prepared something about called Dancing in the Time of COVID-19. This is going to be I don't know what motions. Okay. All right. So we are going.
Sexy open-faced stripper pole. That sounds like some parts of my past.
I love TikTok. I have really grown a lot to enjoy TikTok.
Hey, is that a boy?
It is not.
I just want to make sure.
All right. That's our best thing of the week. We move on into what's on your mind. And I'm going to ask all of the hosts there, I'm going to ask them in 30 seconds. Tell me what's on your mind this week that we can share with America. Napoleon, in 30 seconds, tell me what's on your mind.
I have had a terrifying weekend. I'm sure the rest of the country can relate to it. I have watched Corona hit us for months. We've reported on it on Q News for months. And yet I did not tell my family to get enough hand sanitizer. I could not convince them enough to self-isolate. I could not tell my mom, who was 69 with COPD, to stay isolated early enough. And I have been freaking out all weekend. I'm prone to that kind of response. I'm hyperactive and anxious, and I am terrified by the fact that I was listening to the government and to people to react the way that I did without doing more for the people I love.
And Ron, tell us what's on your mind this week.
Be prepared, be prepared, be prepared. He who forgets the past is condemned to relive it. If we remember the past, if we remember things that have happened in the history of humanity, we would then keep preparing ourselves all the time. I'm also thinking about the fact that, hey, we are in a spaceship called Earth. And whatever I do, it affects somebody else. So the best thing I'm thinking about is, you know what? Be prepared. That's the most important thing. Be prepared and don't take things for granted.
Excellent. James, tell us from Albany, New York at NBC, what's on your mind this week?
Well, at first it was self-quarantine, and if I was going to have to do that when I got back to New York. Now that I'm sitting next to somebody who's come in contact with somebody at a white party, I'm going to be for sure in self-quarantine. So, with that being said, that's what's on my mind. Thank you.
Yeah, all right. And Power, what's on your mind this week?
Well, before I get to my what's on my mind, I want to give a shout out to my sister Coco Montrese, who actually is watching the show and just watched our last segment and is commenting.
Coco Montrese, by the way. She's one of my favorite
Hey, girl.
She was great on All-Star.
But what's on my mind is a very serious thing. Today marks the 1-year anniversary of the suicide of my brother. A year ago today, my brother killed himself. And it is something that will live and impact my family for the rest of our lives. But the reason I draw attention to that is because he went through some very difficult mental challenges. And so I would like to encourage everybody, I don't know if we have it up on the screen yet, but I would like to encourage everybody that if you guys have any problems, if you guys feel like you guys just cannot cope anymore, please call the National Suicide Hotline. Please talk to somebody. Please reach out, and please get help.
Can I echo, I didn't know that you were doing this until right now, but can I echo what I've also learned in the last 2 days of the value of what you just did? Psychologists are saying that the number one impact on American people in general, across the board, regardless of race, ethnicity, whatever it might be, is the psychological effects of what we're going through. Fear creates anxiety. Anxiety creates poor decision-making. Poor decision-making equates to wrong decision-making of the process of what you do, and it ultimately ends frequently in a catastrophic decision, which is what you've just talked about in terms of suicide. So we echo exactly what Power just said. The effects of coronavirus is having a psychological schism on the character and thinking of America. Don't allow that. The way to overcome that is to reach out to your friends and your family. Skype, by phone calls, by text, by Facebook, whatever it is, reach out and touch base and anchor with your friends and your family. It's very, very important. Josie, what's on, and thank you for sharing that with us, Power, and we're sorry for your loss again. I can't believe it's been a year already. I can't believe it. Josie, what's on your mind this week?
So what's on my mind is exactly what we just That's exactly it, is choosing from fear right now and operating in this world at the moment where we're all coming from this space of fear. And when we do that, it fogs our mind. We make irrational decisions. We choose from, when you choose from fear, it only brings more problems into your space. I'm walking in the street and I see people acting like complete jerks to each other. We're in a crisis as a community, people. Show a little humanity, show a little compassion, and choose joy, choose love, and operate from that space.
Excellent. So that's what's on the mind of our host this week. We're going to move into our main topic this week. And our topic of conversation It's Happening Out is how to maybe even accomplish what Josie just said. How to support one another during this time of emergency. How do we do better in coping with what we are facing? Let's just begin. What do y'all think? How do we deal with the issues at this time?
Everyone is tense. Every single person here is tense. And I know that even in our interactions, we've been frustrated. We've been hurt. Everyone in the entire world is impacted by what's going on. And I think what's most important is to make sure that you're embracing every action that you take with an amount of love. Because I know that if you're saying something to me that is frustrated, you might be feeling something that is about your spouse somewhere far back, or you might be talking about your mom somewhere else, or other things that I have no idea about. I have to remember in every single instance that as much fear and as much as I'm feeling through all of what's going on right now, anger toward the administration, whatever else, that I have to be compassionate toward each individual person. And I try to look at every single person in the eyes and think of it that way, because I know there's not a person that is here right now that's not struggling in some way.
It's a good opportunity right now to practice mindfulness and maybe add a little meditation and breathing to your daily regimen, giving yourself a moment. And, this is an invitation from the universe right now to self-care. This is an opportunity for us to take care of all of those things that we have. We always say we don't have the time or the money to do. Go and start that garden in your backyard. Finish that yard project. Organize, that closet. Do these things, and through it all, practice some mindfulness. Get present to what you're doing, and take deep breaths. When you just sit in stillness, even if you start at 10 minutes a day, there's plenty of YouTube guided meditations that you can attempt and try. But even if you start off with 3 minutes, but 10 minutes, shoot for that, just to, ground yourself and breathe and quiet your mind. And in that moment, listen to your hearts.
Other thoughts? How we support one another?
The way that I'm doing it, I have family in France and in Spain. So what we've decided to do as a family is we decided to have shows. And my cousins in France, they start singing La Vida Rose in French, and we do something here in Spanish and English, and there was once in Italy. And we've just found that we were communicating. I never knew the what's it called? Skype. Skype. Oh, this is wonderful. I'm learning technology. Actually saying, hi there, how's everything, And we're actually, yesterday, my husband and I decided to have dinner with our cousins in Italy, and we were sat down. He said, it was, 3 o'clock in the morning. It was midnight here, whatever time it was, and we were having fun, and we were having drinking, and it hit me. Damn, we have an opportunity to reach out to each other. I loved your video that you put on today, made me laugh, and this is good opportunity for us to go ahead and just exchange it. And you know what? Again, sounds corny for many people, but darn it, say I love you. It ain't gonna kill you. You got the coronavirus to do that, but go ahead and tell somebody you do.
One of the things that I think is powerful is we pick and choose carefully who we listen to. The internet is full of misinformation, is full of rumors, is full of lies.
Yeah.
And you should pick and choose harder and harder and harder who you're listening to and who you're following. And the messages should be positive. I'll tell you one person that has really impressed me this week is New York Governor Mario Cuomo.
Absolutely.
And the reason Cuomo has impressed me, I don't want him to run for president, but
Actually, I think he would have been a great candidate.
he's very presidential these days. And he did yesterday a press conference, completely impromptu. We reported it at Q News tonight. And he talked about, before he answered questions of the press, how coronavirus was affecting him personally, his daughters, what his feelings were, how he felt isolated, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then he did this beautiful moment of talking about the perspective of where we were in Corona with the overall scheme of things of America. And then he used the fingers, and I just bring them up and put them in front of you. He said, there's this and this and this, but it's only going to last this long. And then there's this and this and this, but it's only going to last this long. And he repeated the soundbite over and over and over. And when he finished, I was smiling and I felt better about coronavirus, because leadership can be leaders. And that's exactly what we need in terms of helping support each other in this time of emergency. Pay attention to who you're listening to and the positivity of the message and the accuracy of the message that you're hearing. Anything else on this topic before
Can
we
we
move
share
on?
the toilet paper? It's getting to be ridiculous.
Yeah.
Just share the toilet paper.
Did I tell the story here?
No, that was
toilet
Q
paper?
News. Go on the side of the road and share it with everybody. You'll be the most popular, the guy there.
This morning.
Any bathhouse.
We talked about this morning. Napoleon and I and Alejandro, my roommate, Alejandro Alfaro, we went for a 5-mile walk this morning. And
for mental health, because now
mental
it's time
health,
to do
but
that.
exercise too. Our gym was closed. And
do that for us.
at the end, there's an Aldi, a little less than half a mile from my house. And I thought, I'm going to go into an Aldi. I've never been into one. And I went in, and while I was at an Aldi, they were putting down a pallet of toilet paper. And it was like, well, I probably need toilet paper. Now, first off, America, this is a respiratory virus. You don't need toilet paper. No. You don't need it. But
you're talking to the gays, so.
Right, and drag queens. And so I got 2 packages, 24 rolls of toilet paper. And I'm walking home with a package of toilet paper under each arm. Al is walking home. 3 separate cars stopped me and asked the question, where did you get that? That's never happened before. I thought it was very strange. It's the world we live in now.
It's legitimate.
You finally get that side of the road pickup that you've always wanted.
Yeah.
It's handy.
All right. Let's move to Saved by the Bell. And let's do a lightning round of LGBT topics in the news this week and other headlines. But we're only going to talk about them for 60 to 90 seconds on each topic. And when we get to that time limit, I'm going to ring the bell regardless of wherever they are. And please, Ron, I hope you're in mid-sentence, because I love that the best.
I know.
When we do
Clean
that.
all the
Right.
time.
All right. So everybody knows what we're going to do in playing Saved by the Bell? All right, here we go. Story number 1 in Saved by the Bell. The Ohio primary was halted yesterday by the governor amid coronavirus fears.
Meaning it was pushed back for potentially indefinitely.
To June 2nd.
Yeah, or further. We don't even know that. This huge primary. Ohio, you could tell me right now, Ohio is a huge primary, correct? It is a deciding factor in our country. It is going to be red or is it going to be blue? And now, who is it going to be in the blue? We don't know what's going to happen with them. It could be halted forever.
What do y'all think about the Ohio primary?
Well, I got into a debate. My friend Leslie Quick, the one that coined you, Miss Barbara Walters. And
Thank you, Leslie, by the way. I love you.
Leslie is of the belief that it's some conspiracy theory, that the Republicans did this so that they can shut out the Democrats, from voting. And even though, yes, I am staunchly anti-Republican right now, even I had to defend the Republicans and say, I really think, let's just give them the benefit of the doubt that they did this in the best interest of the public health,
right,
and not, as some type
Ron,
of
anything?
various.
Sorry.
Actually, what you just said is absolutely to the point that we're talking about. It's really, we're beginning to stop talking about political parties and focusing on the welfare of the community at large. I think that's very good. I think it's very good that we begin to say, stop this bitterness and this fighting, and let's go to...
Love that. It's my favorite. But I agree with you. Saved by the Bell number 2. Governor DeSantis of Florida has closed most Florida businesses.
Oh.
Yeah, well, I'm going to step in on this one. I really wish that all businesses were adhering to the order and would comply in this moment, because what people are not understanding, it's super selfish. And when we're putting profit over people, because what that is, people are going to suffer through this crisis. Okay, period, end of story. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. People are going to struggle. We are going to feel it. Every single person will feel it in some way or another. Mm-hmm. The longer it takes for us to, bond as a community and take an action that includes us all, then the shorter that little window will be. But when we have irresponsible folks out there, businesses who are putting profit over people, they're just extending this hardship on all of us.
A story example of that. James came into town yesterday after Q News. We took James to dinner at Bubbles and Pearls. And James walked down the drive, down to Bubbles. It's at the other end of the drive from here at the World AIDS Museum. And roommates with me. So there were 4 of us for dinner. And James commented, and your wife commented, walking from your house, wow, there are multiple businesses that are violating the ordinance in terms of bars and its proximity, etc. And we went to Bubbles and Pearls because, frankly, I thought last night would be the last night that the restaurant could be open where we could sit in the restaurant. And I wanted to support your restaurant, and I wanted my friend to come and have dinner at your restaurant.
I commend the governor for doing what he did, and I commend every governor in the country that does that.
My point is, to that note, in the gayest place on planet Earth, multiple business owners acted irresponsibly last night to push the violation of the rules for a few dollars.
Exactly, and that's why I think that it's so commendable to say what we are to you right now, Josie, because there have been many decisions made by many owners across the country, not just here in Wilton Manors, not just in our small division. This is a time of public crisis. There is an ability to gain $50 because you're staying open for 2 days. Or you could help people to not just live and survive and to have value in your company by understanding that you add value to the community and you're looking out for everybody. You're doing that. You're making sure that the public health comes first before $10 that you're going to make tomorrow. Your food is amazing, and I know that it will be there, and I appreciate that you're doing that.
And Mario Cuomo's quote again, Bubbles and Pearls will be back, and Chef Josie will be back because it's going to last this long. That's it. Saved by the Bell number 3. David Foster and Pink and other celebrities are holding concerts from home on the internet.
I love this. I absolutely love it. I think this is great. I think this is a great opportunity. Now, do it because you feel it from the heart. Don't do it for publicity aspect of it. But I think it's a good idea. At least people will go ahead and enjoy a concert that they may not, and just release some time.
The bigger story is so are drag queens.
Yeah,
we're doing shows from our home online and digitally. So
you're painting,
or you're lip syncing.
Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But the fact of the matter is, let's not pay attention to this. Pay attention to your local queens.
Right.
Go support them.
That's an awesome observation.
Give them some love.
I would love to see you lip sync to John Legend performing live as we're going. Like, let me just tell you, that's all I've ever wanted to see from you. I think that would be the sexiest thing I've ever seen from you.
Well, then great. Then I'll give you my Cash App. We can make that.
Just text to donate, and here.
Is that an OnlyFans?
It's okay. I'll be there in a week too.
Napoleon, are you thinking about performing on the internet?
Well, you know what's so interesting right now is that there are a lot of gay people that are terrified. I'm fearful of losing my income, my paycheck. And I know that a lot of people in the service industry, in the artistic industry, are fearful of that, and that's where I'm at. And a lot of people that have the ability are saying, well, if you're going to be quarantined, go on Just for Fans, on OnlyFans, and make an account. And I know that you're listening up right now. But it's frustrating because you don't want to have to divulge yourself to something lesser, but at the same time, if you're fearful, you want to be able to have that income, and that might be what's happening.
Now let's let that digest a moment of what has just been discussed.
You're welcome.
Saved by the Bell number 4. Honey Mahogany from RuPaul's
Yes.
Drag Race is the first trans black person elected in San Francisco or California. What do y'all think?
Go, girl.
How did it
That's
take this
right.
long?
Are you shocked that it's never happened?
This is 2020.
before? San
What is-
Francisco?
Same sentiment.
No,
Yeah, it
not
took so long.
Not shocked because right now, trans individuals are really coming into the light.
Yeah.
And so it's really their time, and fortunately, it's their time to shine. But unfortunately, it's also their time to really bear the brunt of the persecution.
That's so unfortunate. I know I'm the resident youngin here without Aaron here, but I find this so shocking because I'm absolutely like flabbergasted by the fact that Honey Mahogany or no one else has ever been a trans person, much less a person of color that has been in San Francisco or California.
What office
And that,
was she
like,
elected
how crazy is
for?
that?
In the Democratic Committee, it's a public office in the city of San Francisco that is the Democratic Political Action Committee.
Oh, okay.
The executive committee of the Democratic Party.
Thank
for
you.
San
That's what it is. Interesting. I want to provide an exclamation point to Power's observation. When this happens at Q News tonight, a full 70% of the state legislature anti-LGBT laws that have been proposed in the last 6 months all have to do with trans. There is a full war going on against the trans community at the state level in many, many states. We done? Good. Saved by the Bell number 5. A Spanish trainer on a red roof, on a roof in Spain, is keeping people fit. Did you see that video? The gyms have closed, and a trainer from the gym got onto a roof that was surrounded by apartment buildings. And then people started to come out on their balconies or stand at their windows, and he led exercises. And the pictures of the video image all the way around him are hundreds and hundreds of people doing an exercise class on their balcony. What do y'all think?
I think it's fantastic. I think this is a great idea. People are doing things for each other. Isn't it about time?
Well, I mean, and it's also
about
adhering to social distancing. You know, it's just to show you what else is possible when we think outside the box.
That's right.
Period.
You can be responsible and help people improve their lives and have fun.
Absolutely.
And I know Josie and I are on that. And we're going to make sure we have some endeavors going forward for here at Happening on Television Network. But that's exciting to see him doing it right there. Very sexy guy too, by the way. Let's just putting that out there.
Oh, well, I'll definitely look him up. Then.
I'm curious. We have a little time. Are y'all exercising?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Are you?
Is it in Spanish?
Insanity.
Hell no.
All right. We'll use that as our soundbite. Hell no. Saved by the Bell number 6. A lesbian deputy is running against a sheriff in Ohio who fired her.
That's right.
What do y'all think?
I think of that Shakespeare quote about hell hath no fury. I'm excited to see what she does because clearly she has a lot of scorn and she is going to be in full force. If you are in any position where somebody has done you wrong and you have legal authority, I'd say take every absolute necessity to make sure that you do what you need to do.
Listen, it's beyond that. This is exactly what Al was speaking about last week when we were talking about misogyny, okay? This woman right here has been on the force for 33 years. She's overqualified for the position. They had a disagreement. She stood up for what she believed was right. They, you question a man, maybe in a position of power, your boss.
White man, by the way.
You might get fired. So, you know what? I commend her for, number one, having the courage to stand for what she believes in. And I commend her, again, even more so, for now running to take his office. It's something I used to tell all my young cooks. I said, boys, I said, boys, if you want my job, it's right here. Come and get it.
That's
so
exactly
that's how
right.
we do
That's
it.
a great observation. By the way, we can't report on the outcome because this is one of the races that was affected by the Ohio primaries being suspended yesterday. However, the lesbian deputy running against the white privileged male sheriff was endorsed by the Democratic Party in the county and is leading in the polls. So we're going to watch this race, and we're going to report on this
Now,
race.
are
you
we
can
watching
ensure.
that because she's running, or are we making it a point because she's a lesbian?
Sorry. Saved by the Bell number 7. See, the bell saved me there. A man, it's being reported, who hoarded 17,700 bottles of hand sanitizers to sell on Amazon was called out in national scorn, including, we believe, the Attorney General in Tennessee, and has now decided to donate his entire stockpile of hand sanitizer. What do y'all think?
I think the shame in this is not just that he was so greedy and did what he did, but the fact that he decided to now do the right thing only because he was called out, and only because of the backlash. And these people have to realize this is something that's going to they're going to be a part of history. Like the people that are caught on the videos that have gone viral, sitting there, women in stores fighting over toilet paper. There was one video that went viral where there was 2 women fighting a black lady over toilet paper.
I saw
They had their
that.
whole cart filled up like the Empire State Building with toilet paper, and this bitch only wanted one. And they wouldn't give her one.
And
now,
again, this is a respiratory virus.
Yeah,
There's
right.
no...
And they became racist because of one simple reason. The 2 ladies were Mexican Americans, and the other lady was an African American. Some of the things, it actually occurred in Miami. Mm-hmm. Some of these things that happened is absolutely offensive. They were calling each other names. I mean, how low can you get?
I have to add, my roommate tried to get a can of Lysol. A can of Lysol was selling on Amazon for $114.
Yes, and then that was the other thing. That's what this guy was doing. He was marking up Purell bottles to $50 for a small, and he actually thought that he was going to change the trajectory of his family. I'm like, no, man, greed doesn't get you there.
I have to add, we're right at the cusp of time, but I want to add not only his greed, the $114 Lysol, but Amazon, why aren't you stopping this?
Yeah,
Because
regulate.
it's your greed also. Stop it.
Which they've done now.
Yeah, they have, but yes.
It took
but it's going to happen again and again and again. Amazon,
Yeah.
you've got to get more aggressive. Saved by the Bell number 8. The brand new Disney CEO defends LGBTQ plus inclusion at a shareholder meeting when a shareholder says basically we're tired of all of the gayness at Disney.
This is, by the way, a CEO that has been in office for about 2 weeks. He's taking over from someone that acquired Pixar, the MCU, Star Wars, everything that's going on. He's taking over. He's filling big, big, big shoes, and he did not mean to step into this position at this time. So for him to make this claim is a huge claim for one of the biggest companies in the entire world to make. The CEO of Disney is saying, hey, we're going forward with LGBT content and with LGBT representation, and he just stepped into it. We might see a lot happen in the next couple of years, the next couple of decades while he's in power.
I thought, to me, I'm a little shocked because, as far as I'm concerned, Gay Disney has been part of our community. We've been to Gay Disney, we've been everywhere. I mean, hello. I mean, I don't see.
Great caution. Vigilance. If you don't
we're
keep it in front of you.
But no characters. There's been 0 characters.
Are you kidding? I don't know. Sometimes
outright characters. He's
Mickey?
Did you
Sometimes Mickey.
Mickey is with Minnie Mouse.
Wait, did you just out Mickey?
I just out Mickey. Go ahead and shoot America. I out her.
He is married to Minnie.
Oh,
please.
sure, that's what you think.
Ian Gillum.
And Andrew's married too. So.
Oh my God.
Oh,
All right.
man.
Enough on Disney. We're done.
we're
here.
good.
Okay, good. All right. Saved by the Bell number 9. Big news this week. Didn't get a lot of attention. And it's an indication of where politics are this week. Joe Biden pledges to pick a woman as vice president in the debate.
I would argue that it did actually get a lot of attention. The debate itself coming from the debate, that was actually the biggest thing that came out of the debate, was that Joe Biden pledged on the stage that he would.
I don't know if you saw.
Well, let's make
the
sure. Let's
viewer
hold them
results.
accountable, guys. Let's make sure that happens.
Since the first debate, Sunday night was the lowest watched debate of all.
And that's
debates.
probably why this was the biggest news from the debate, because it wasn't really, it wasn't
sort of
really
irrelevant
that
to what's going on
lively.
right now.
It was kind of boring, but I think the two best lines from the debate was that Joe Biden committed to having a female running mate, and Bernie Sanders said that we need to shut this president up.
The only thing is, who is he going to choose? Is he going to choose any of the ladies which have put out their names out there?
Hillary.
Or are we going to find another one? Or are we going back to the past?
We've heard
Are we
Michelle
going to
Obama.
I mean, really,
Kamala,
I think that
Klobuchar.
I feel sorry for Joe, because he really has to choose the right woman to be able to defeat President Trump.
Joe, Joe. I'm sorry, Ron.
Throw a mic pack at him.
I'm going to tell you something. I don't have any kids that
honestly
work for
try to take the Republican hat off for a second. Asking real perspective.
Sure.
Have you felt over especially the last couple of weeks, but let's say the last month, that there is a pendulum change moving against the president and his reelection? Do you feel that in any way?
No, I do not.
And that's because?
Because I believe right now nobody's paying attention to it. Right now, everybody's paying attention to the crisis we're in. I think that after this crisis goes away, then we, as Americans, no matter what political party we are affiliated with, we really have to take a good look at the candidates, and I believe that that's what's going to change.
Let me ask you a
right
second
now,
question that relates to this. Do you think that when this crisis passes, it's only this long, but let's assume it's 8 weeks, 12 weeks, 16 weeks, whatever it really is, do you think the president's going to be tagged with all of this? And that will affect the voting outcome in November 3rd?
I think it could. I think it will. I think it
has to.
But not. It doesn't have to. I think it can. I think it will.
Biggest disease of our lifetime.
I'm really trying to get Ron's answer.
However, I believe that how he reacts, how the nation comes across, how we come out of this disaster will go ahead and show either he had the capacity of leadership or he did not. I will again tell you that I do not believe that it's over until the fat lady sings. So let's get rid of this virus, and we as Americans will take a look at it. I don't care. I don't care if, it might be that I may come one day here and say, you know what? After the whole crisis is over, I don't think the president did a good job. I may tell you, I adore the president, but right now that's not important to me.
I agree with that. I want to put this video. We're going to show the recount video here in a moment. The reason why I ask you these questions, because I think it's really important. I'm right there on that agreement. I don't care about Joe Biden or Bernie Sanders right now. Honestly, I don't. I keep posting this in Facebook. I do not care. Let's just finish it and be done with it. We move on to November 3rd, and whatever happens, happens. And that's how I feel about it as it relates to coronavirus. But something interesting happened today, and we're getting ready to show this. And I don't know if you've seen the recount video, but very powerful messaging about how they're going to try to tag the president on this disaster of coronavirus. And we want to show this to you, America. Watch this.
We have it totally under control. It's one person coming in from China. We think we have it very well under control. We pretty much shut it down coming in from China. You know, in April, supposedly it dies with the hotter weather. When it gets warm, historically, that has been able to kill the virus. People are getting better. They're all getting better. And the 15 within a couple of days is going to be down to close to zero. It's going to disappear. One day, it's like a miracle. It will disappear, and you'll be fine. They're going to have vaccines, I think, relatively soon. Not only the vaccines, but the therapies. Therapies is sort of another word for cure. You're talking about very small numbers in the United States. Our numbers are lower than just about anybody. It's really working out. And a lot of good things are going to happen. And we are responding with great speed and professionalism. It's going to go away. Yeah, no, I don't take responsibility at all. We're going to all be great. We're going to be so good. This came up, we came up so suddenly. This is a pandemic. I felt it was a pandemic long before it was called a pandemic. All you had to do is look at other countries. The coronavirus, you know that, right? Coronavirus. And this is their new hoax. We're 15 people in this massive country. And because of the fact that we went early. We could have had a lot more than that. We're doing great. Our country is doing so great.
Well, I ask Ron these questions because I think Ron's opinion is super valuable on this. This is the most powerful thing I've seen in 2020.
It is.
The most
It is
powerful.
very powerful. And I think that right now the important thing is that it's shameful what has happened. But go ahead. You can turn all this around and say, you know why we had this? Because we did not have a Congress who was too busy trying to impeach the president instead of focusing on this issue. So it goes both ways. We're going to have attacks both ways. But right now, I'm sorry, Americans. I'm sorry. It is not the time to discuss politics.
Okay.
And that's where I stand.
All right, I understand your point. I do understand your point. Any other thoughts about what we've just shown on Recount?
Now is the time to discuss this because this is what this segment is all about. So since we played that and we're talking about Trump, let's talk about Trump. The fact of the matter is Trump has always been very quick to, in the past with other presidents, say whatever happens, and there was a tweet, because, there's always a tweet when it comes to Trump. Whatever happens, it's the president's responsibility. Whatever happens, it's the president's fault. On the campaign trail, he said he tried to blame 9/11 on Bush. He tried to actually blame 9/11 on Bush, saying that it happened under his watch. So if for every other president, everything and anything that happens is their fault and their responsibility, why does the same not hold true for him? He has to be held accountable because he's the leader. The buck stops with him. He's the president. So to your point, if this is handled in a good way, I am afraid, of course I want it to be handled correctly, but if it's handled in a good way, the con to that is that he most definitely will be reelected.
Absolutely.
Because if he proves his mettle, you can't say, you really can't say much. He did the damn thing.
Wait, please. That requires me to ask the question then. That's the White House's argument. That was their argument today on the China virus and the Kung Flu racism comments that were today, that the media, and there are groups of Democrats that want the White House and the Corona Pandemic Commission to fail so he doesn't get reelected. To your observation that you just made, you give an ominous warning of success may reelect him. Ron's point is, let's focus on the most important thing first, which is coronavirus, and we'll worry about the politics later. Maybe there's whole groups of people that are not going to do that. They don't want to focus on coronavirus first.
Well, coronavirus has to be focused on first because, honey, if we're not alive to vote one way or the other, what does it matter? So coronavirus has to be concentrated on first. However, the fact remains, and I'm going to be very honest, I would like to see this turn out successfully, but I'm not going to be happy for Trump to be reelected. I don't care what he could create the cure for all I care. I still won't be happy with his reelection. Right. Now, I would be very happy if this all came, worked out, but no matter what happens, I still don't want Trump to be reelected, period, point blank.
I think that's a very valid point from his perspective. That's the way he feels. I will tell you honestly, I know how you feel because there was a time when we had a president in this country that he could have gone and cured every disease in the world. I would have never voted for that individual.
Right.
And I reserve the right of not mentioning who that person was. But I'm going to tell you very honestly, I think that right now, if president fails or it does not fail, it really doesn't matter. It's not about Trump. It's about us Americans. And I'm going to tell you something. A few hours ago, the Senate passed a bill for funding. Within minutes, literally minutes, the president had signed on it. This is the way our country should be operating. It's shameful that we're operating based on this circumstances that is affecting us all. But I believe very clearly that all Americans, everyone around this table, would say, wait until this is over. Let's focus on the presidency now. There are things that the president said that I found very offensive. Okay, there are things that the Democrats have said, the candidates and the party have said that I find asinine. But the fact of the matter that right now this crisis is bringing us together. Let's resolve it. Let's move forward. And I think that's the point.
I'm going to give us 30 more seconds. I've got to move on.
I think that the lack of leadership okay? And that goes from the municipalities up to the state, up all the way. It starts at the top. That is where we're at. I think that the actions that we're taking next, it's a collective. Andrew Yang has been talking about a freedom credit, freedom tax. That was what he ran his campaign on it, and he never knew that that's actually would be. And we have to be very careful because I'm not going to give Donald Trump all of the credit when those ideas are being put forward. It's a collective of people who are going to put these ideas forward. And Andrew Yang, hey, listen, you get to be on the next administration, involved in the next administration.
Yeah. One closure note that I want to make is, and Ron, I appreciate your very candid and frank observations, because that's really what we want to pay attention to in our balance. I report on the New York Stock Exchange. Today, the New York Stock Exchange closed 1,338 points down. More important, the Dow is now at 19,898 from its high in the mid 27,000. Officially today is the first day where every single gain that the New York Stock Exchange had since Donald Trump became president has been wiped away.
Absolutely.
It makes the president vulnerable. It does, because he's lived in the economy, and the economy is wiped out. We're going to spend trillions of dollars. This is going to have trillions of dollars of effect on the economy, and this is the proof of it at 19,898. So when Corona is finished, he won't roll and roar into the fall going, look at where we're at, because he won't have that luxury of having that. So all bets are going to be off this fall. But we, to Ron's point, we have to solve the first thing first, which is coronavirus. And what happens with Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders is irrelevant.
Yeah.
We don't care. At least I don't. Right. All right. Let's move on to Shag, Marry, Chop as we finish the show. Whoa. And tonight we're going to play the game Shag, Marry, Chop by going, I need... By the way, I have an allergy.
So do I.
What they
I've
say.
been coughing too, so don't think I have.
No.
Well, I don't know. I've been feeling in front of you know who.
back on-
Oh Lord!
And the millennials are the one to blame, folks. The guy between these two is the one to blame, between the two coughing allergy guys.
A doctor has.
I'm
put
just
me
coughing.
back
I'm
on.
sorry.
I'm going to be the scapegoat because I was at winter party.
That's exactly right.
Russ, I'm disinfecting
And-
when I get home.
and-
Okay, guys, you have no idea.
And there's a New Yorker at the table and somebody who runs a restaurant. It's all y'all's fun. No. All right. We're going to play Shag, Marry, Chop, and tonight our Shag, Marry, Chop is appropriately, I need a doctor. All right, let's play. And we'll begin with Dr. Mike
I don't care who this is.
Chavisky.
I'll need him too.
Ooh,
Oh, wow.
man, is he sexy. And then Dr. Gabriel Prado, a doctor of neurology.
I didn't realize
Really?
the second person.
And Dr. Hussein Shield, a doctor of physical therapy. Oh, he's at a dance party. All right. I need a doctor. Who are we going to choose? Shag, Marry, Chop. Who's going to start? Ron, you start.
Well, I am. I would definitely check with the first doctor.
Look at Mike's eyes.
Mike
Woo!
Varchowski, or whatever it is. I would check with him. I would probably marry the physical therapist. What's his name?
Dr. Hussein Shield.
Yeah, the other guy.
And Gabriel. Oh.
Chopped.
No. Chopped. All right.
Chop.
Do you think these guys would hate that we're objectifying them this way?
Well, Hussein wouldn't. I know that one, but I'm not sure about the rest.
All right. Who's next?
Yeah.
I don't care.
Well, okay.
I don't care.
I'm shagging. No, what kind of doctor was Mike
What's a
again?
DO? I don't know.
Physics, astronomy, something.
What's a DO? Osteopathy.
Oh, okay. And then the neurologist.
He's a bone doctor.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh.
Bone doctor.
Oh.
Okay. So I'm gonna bone the bone doctor then. Okay.
Right.
We're shagging the bone doctor.
Okay.
And then I'm marrying the neurologist because he's the richest and he has a thing with vampires, so we're good. And then
Where the hell? I just noticed that. Yeah.
and then I'm gonna have to chop Dr. Hussein because he's just a little bit too on the feminine side for my taste.
Wow.
In terms of boys.
The lesbian said he's too feminine. Oh my goodness. All right. Who else? James, tell us. Who would you shag?
I am going to shag the one that looks like he's a escort boy down there, Dr. Hussein. Totally shaggable.
What's he doing?
He's trying to earn $1.
I don't know.
Oh, I saw him at Winter Party.
You in there too?
Oh,
Not the only
bitches,
case.
I
All
swear.
right. So you'd shag him, and who would you marry?
I'd like to marry the dick doctor. I mean, the
The
DO
dick
doctor. And we can just toss away the other guy in the middle because I can't really see him through the cameras. But
Rado. Oh, he's pretty.
Yeah,
But you know
he's
what?
pretty.
I almost guarantee he is ego-filled.
Yeah,
Right.
that's it.
Yeah.
Well,
All right.
I'll go next. The
All
first,
right.
Mike and Gabriel honestly look almost identical to me. I know I'm a white guy, but they look basically the same. So I will say that by their personas, I will go with Shag.
Wait,
Dr.
did
Mike.
you just say you can't tell the difference in white guys?
I can't tell the difference in them, so I'll say that. So I will shag. I know everyone else here is apparently better at it than I. It's okay. I'll play the Jew card here. I will. Oh, husky. Okay, I'm gonna shag Dr. Mike because he's got the husky. He looks like he has a fun lifestyle. But you're right, Josie. Dr. Gabriel looks like he can support you, and he might be a little egotistical.
Oh my gosh.
That's fine. That's fine, Ron. I would love. He's probably Republican, confident, egotistical, has a lot of terrible things to say about other people. And then I will unfortunately cut my friend because he's my
Gabriel's got a small dick.
How the hell can you tell?
I know that.
Because of the attitude, and he's focusing on all of the things that doesn't give him confidence.
That makes him a better top in my eyes.
Okay, I'm going.
Bottom.
No.
Okay, all right.
It hurts,
So
man.
I'm gonna shag Dr. Hussein Shield because he is a circuit boy.
Woo!
Him and I will have a lot of fun together. Shag and then go out and do our thing.
He's got a cute belly button.
And unlike Josie, I'm not going to ask what they're the doctors of. I don't give a damn. They could be a doctor of a plant for all I care. I love all three of them, but I have to make a choice. So I'm going to marry Dr. Gabriel Prado because he looks egocentrical, and
You like the ego.
I do. I like the cockiness. I like the narcissism.
Hey, Power.
That he's. I think he's the type of person that would slap me around and call me Susan, and I'm all for it. So I will marry him and walk 2 steps behind him like a Stepford wife. And
Oh my goodness.
I'll have to chop the other.
That is
chopper's neck
very
and-
race embracing kind of.
Okay. Call me 12 years a sling.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
Oh my goodness!
And I'm gonna chop the other chap.
I love the Trump era for that reason.
All right. Well, if you need a doctor, we've got him here for you tonight. Mike is cute as all get out. I'm just saying. We are getting ready to have some pizza here from Jets, and yes.
Just throw the pizza box.
Okay, all right. Right, our pizza delivery is shy, no problem at all. And we're getting ready to have Jets Pizza. And we want to remind you that if it's important to you, we do it at It's Happening Out. And we're going to say good night and give all of our hosts an opportunity to say good night. And we'll start with Chef Josie.
Tonight I have a special good night. Right before I walked in, one of my friend's moms, I just got word that one of my friend's mom passed away. So my good night goes out to you, Allison Burgos, and your family. I'm sending you so much love. And to the rest of you watching, right now, we don't know what everyone is going through. So, stay safe, stay sane, stay sanitized, and stay kind. Good night.
Safe.
And to my friend, Power Infiniti.
Well, look, America, we are in uncharted territory. Right now, we are unsure of where we are and where we're going. But just remember, this too shall pass. So, let's all get together. Let's all get through this together. And I'll see you guys on the other side.
And to my friend James De La Fuentes.
My governor's better. We're all going to get through this, and it's an amazing time to actually really love your loved ones. Take some time to make sure that you're paying attention to that, because it is scary, but your family's there, and they're important too.
And to my friend Ron.
America, reach out to each other through whatever means. Tell them that you love them. Tell them that you care. Close your eyes and just pray for whatever God you believe in. Just take a little time. Smile, hug yourself, and say what a wonderful life you've got, regardless of all the chaos you're living in, you're going through it. God bless you. Buenas noches. Cuídese. Protect yourself.
And my friend NapoleonPlays.
Yeah, everybody has a little bit of a kid within them. They want to play, they want to be vulnerable, they want to love. And I think all of us are feeling vulnerable right now, maybe even a little bit scared. But that's why I encourage everybody, just like we do here with our weird, nonsensical games, to play every day, every way. It's the way to heal yourself through all of what's going on. And hey, I'm a big video game fan, and I think that's a great way to play digitally when you're across socially distancing yourself to be healthy. Make sure that you're supporting the people that love you, and make sure that they're supporting you as well. And we're here for you. Stay safe.
America, it's happening out. This is really, really important to us. I don't think any of us have been prouder of anything that we've ever done. We have been on the air at It's Happening Out since September of 2018. Everything that we have done from September 18 until last week was irrelevant. Everything that we do from tonight forward is critically important. And the reason is because it's happening out, we're talking to the LGBT community. And along with our news partner, Q News Tonight, we are going to give you factual information about what is going on, what to do, how to do it, how to survive, how to thrive. And if we can make you laugh a little on the way, we're going to do that too. And that's why It's Happening Out in Q News Tonight is so vitally important. So we remind you, tomorrow night at 7 o'clock at Q News Tonight, we're going to do Q&A on coronavirus at 7 p.m. The mayor of Fort Lauderdale, the gayest place on planet Earth, is going to be here to tell you what's going on in municipalities. We have doctors that are going to be here that are going to tell you factual information of what you should do next, now that you're sequestered, and what we do with testing, and 100 other different things. And we have people here that are HIV experts that are going to tell you if you have immune issues, what does this exactly mean for you? Look, you can turn on MSNBC and CNN. I do it constantly. I know Power and we're both news junkies, but they're not talking to the LGBT community. They're just not. It's Happening Out talks to you in a view fashion of conversation. Q News Tonight will talk to you in terms of the news, and we are going to continue to do that. And whether, as the New York governor, and I agree with you, your governor's better than ours, as Governor Cuomo says, it's going to last this long. And while it's going on between this finger and this finger, It's Happening Out and Q News Tonight are going to be vitally important to you. Drop mic, end of story. It's not going on anywhere in America, this conversation. We will continue to be here. It is a commitment, which finally is why I one more time want to say support for the World AIDS Museum. We are broadcasting in the middle of this live, interactive, living museum, which is currently not alive, like many of our business structures in America. Please text to give 954-371-0969. It is vitally important. Our LGBT 501c3s are being forgotten. It's not all about us. There are many people, especially 501c3s that serve our community, that need your support now more than ever. Please reach out, make a $5 donation, or share that the World AIDS Museum is now in jeopardy. We stand up for them, and I know you will too. And remember, anything that you do, AHF will match you dollar for dollar. You can't ask any more than that. And they need you now. They're ringing a bell of alarm. And so are we at Q News tonight, and it's happening out. So remember, America, we know that this is scary times for all of us. Our bars, our bathhouses, our restaurants, our stores, our jobs, our groceries, everything. We know if it's important to you, remember, it's important to us. And we will bring it to you at Q News tonight, and it's happening out. So good night, America, and we'll see you tomorrow night at 7.
Good night.
Good night.